Hey, my friend, had a question come in from Kylie off of YouTube, and I wanted to talk to you about this. Kylie says, I need to heal deep. I need to get rid of my ego. And I want to tell you, for somebody that has a massive ego, where I come from in this. And my ego has been super crafty in my life, my friend. And the more you try to get rid of your ego, the more it shapeshifts itself. It's a shape-shifting organism. I don't ever think you can get rid of it, because you still have your shoes and your socks on, hopefully. If you're barefoot, maybe you don't, but you get my point. If you didn't have an ego, you probably wouldn't be here in what we would call the third dimension, third density, right? So I think your ego is something to be honored. It's something to listen to. It's something to cherish. It's something to hold dear, like a child that's inside of you. I know there's people that have claimed to have gotten rid of their ego. I don't know if it's possible, and that's just my own personal experience. I think the more love, the more adoration, the more care, the more compassion you give to that little ego, that wounded kid maybe sometimes that's inside of you, the more it listens to you. It's like a relationship between a father and a son, or a mother and a daughter, or vice versa, right? The more attention you give it, and the more you let it know that it's understood. I understand you. And I have awareness with you. I have awareness to see what you're creating in my mind that I would call the Drew mind, right? And when you can separate yourself from your ego, when you can just simply observe it as God would, or witness consciousness, or observation state, some would say, then now you have power in the moment. You have power over it. You have power over the monkey mind. You have what would be called second attention. As my Don has taught me, first attention is of the ego. It's survival. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's, am I safe? Do I have shelter? Do I have food? Do I have all these things? And then when you have all that, and you don't even need all those things to have this second attention, but when you're in that spot of awareness, witnessing the thoughts as they're coming in, well, then you can make a choice. But without that, you have no choice. Without that, you're ruled by the moment. Without that, your reaction. Ken Keyes wrote a book back in the day, 1970s. I forget the name of this. It's one of my favorite books in regards to consciousness. I think it's called The Handbook to Higher Consciousness, actually. So check that out. Anyway, when we realize, and also Eckhart Tolle talks about this, the pain body is running the program for most people, you can start to remove your awareness outside of that and just simply observe it. Somebody comes at you with heat, or they're reacting to you, or they're talking bad about you. That's not you. That's the perception of themselves projected at you. So any thought that anybody has about you isn't you, right? You are who you say is so. And what that means is you can be whoever you want. In the moment, you can shift like this. If you don't like the person you were yesterday, change it. You can be a different person, right? So you get to decide who that is. Nobody else can tell you who you are, how to be, none of that. So when we realize that that is our perception, watching their thought forms, like I've talked about in past videos, then you have power. You're able to witness those thoughts coming at you. Like the movie, one of the classic things that I like so much is in The Matrix, when all the bullets are flying at Neo. You guys remember the scene? And he stops the bullets with his mind. And I want you to imagine for a moment, every single one of those bullets is a thought that somebody's projecting at you. You're not good enough, you're not lovable, you're not worthy, you don't have enough money, you're in scarcity, I hate your hair, right? You have weird feet. Whatever these thoughts are that people put at you, that you're hearing, right? That's all they are. They're their own innermost fears being projected at you. And you can either let those bullets hit you, or you can be like Neo and stop them and just drop them. Because the awareness that you have above those bullets, right? When you call it oneness consciousness, when you call it connected to the divine realm or the infinite mind, then none of these human things ping you. So when somebody says, I want to get rid of my ego, what they're really saying is, I want to listen to my heart more. What they're really saying is, I want to go deep within myself and realize that this journey is more than the five senses. What they're really saying is, I am ready for the next level of my life, and I'm willing and able to start to advance into that second attention. I'm not gonna listen to what my Don would say, my tonal. And the tonal is the personality. I'm giving up the personality that thinks it's always right, self-righteous, it's always judging itself, it's always looking in the mirror and noticing those fine lines and wrinkles and those cracks. And when you separate from that, and you can observe yourself as a witness, loving this human, the most divine thing that there is, this human meat suit. I know I use that a lot, this human body, and you can have joy like you're looking at a 5-year-old child, even in those moments when you know you messed up, right? You cussed out your husband, or you got upset, you reacted in a way that wasn't your highest calling, and you can laugh at that immediately, like 5-10 minutes later, or even a minute later, or in the moment, you're like, wow, that wasn't me. What's going on here? That's when you start to have power, and you're calling back your personal power right now, even by watching this video. So I'm so glad that this question was asked. Maybe you've heard Wayne Dyer say this before, but he says ego is just edging God out. So I like that. I subscribe to that, because ego is your 3D personality. It's like the flute that plays the music, right? It changes. Everybody has a different tone that's coming out of the end of the flute. We're all making our own music. That's the personality. But the wind or the breath that's going out of the flute, that is God. And you are so loved, my friend. So know that. You're not trying to get rid of anything that's a part of you. In fact, you're trying to support it. You're trying to love it even more. Hold it tighter. Even when it's that naughty little girl that you know is in total reaction, that is making a fuss about everything, that's maybe a little princessy, you can just look at her and smile and give that little girl a hug, because there was somewhere along the timeline that you live in this moment, or even in the past, where she wasn't loved. So now she's calling it back in for you as the responsibilitarian, the person that's going to take full ownership of that little girl, full ownership of that life. And when you do, she'll start to sit in the back seat more. She's not going to be driving the car, or he's not going to be driving the car. It'll be the real you, the bigger you, like I talk about in You Be You, my book. So when you're accessing the big you and you're connected to the universe, right? Sky's the limit. So have compassion, my friend. Be kind to yourself. Just give yourself so much love, so much adoration. All right, so that's that. I knew we jumped around. I knew it was going to be jumping around, but this is a Q&A Wednesday. Okay, so simple and easy. Kylie, thank you so much for asking the question. Thank you so much for being vulnerable enough to lean into the uncomfortable world. And thank you so much for expanding who you are. I'm so excited to be filming this video with you guys today. If anyone else has a question, leave it below. Listen, I am ready to receive all the questions that you have. I love filming. I read all these comments. Maybe you saw it on my Instagram. Elle and I going back and forth. We are celebrating you in this moment now. So leave a comment below. Let me know what's going on. Big thumbs up, you guys. And as always, remember, we're in this together.